All right, so this is what the headlines have to say this morning. The Daily Nation, where are IDs? Where are IDs? Elusive documents have turned thousands aliens in their own country. Securing a new identity card or replacing a lost one becomes a nightmare for thousands of Kenyans. In the past, logistical glitches, including breakdowns of printing machines, shortage of printing materials with security features, and rigorous vetting processes have been blamed for the backlog. But a court order halting issuance of third-generation cards has now stalled a system bogged down by bureaucratic and corrupt schemes. Caught up in the mess are more than 500,000 post-secondary students who are unable now to apply for state loans to join colleges. Job seekers and patients are seeking passports for treatment abroad, and they cannot get that. So the question the Daily Nation is asking this morning is, where are IDs? Where are these identification documents? The Business Daily, which is a small kid of the Daily Nation, here says CBK in major operation to stop aggressive dollar bids. Central Bank Governor Kamau Thuge pleads with bank bosses to stop aggressive bids. He sees the shilling gaining ground to 155 if they play ball. Remember, the shilling slid past the 160 mark to the greenback, that is 1 shilling or $1 to the Kenyan shilling at 160. It has dropped by about a shilling in the past week, and Kamau Thuge, the CBK governor, is requesting that other bank CEOs and senior staff from the Treasury Department stop their aggressive bids if we are hoping to reassure them of access to dollars and our shilling gaining ground against the dollar. And he is hopeful for it to get up to 155. Reminds me of President William Ruto saying that we'll get to 125 before February of 2023. You can check your calendar and see which year we are and which February. The Standard. I think I've started to preempt my thoughts way too early. So let's get into the Standard. I invite my guests ndio niseme my comments later. The Standard headline, anger as hundreds stared death in the face. Anger as hundreds stared death in the face. Residents at Nairobi's Embakasi estate are living in fear of yet another explosion, where police say whereas the police say the place is safe. The sight of gas tankers and talk of new leakages has residents all worried. This morning I read a comment from the Kenya Red Cross Nairobi chapter, who are also warning residents of Embakasi that there's reports of a gas leak and fresh worries of another explosion. So the Standard is saying, anger as hundreds stare death in the face. Kimani Wachira and Fendo Godwin are with me here. Is it Godwin or Goodwin?
Godwin.
Fendo Godwin.
Yes.
Are joining me here as the political commentators of the day. So let me introduce them and then we get to react and opine on what is happening in our republic. I'll start with the new face on the show. Alafu ni allow Kimani Wachira aigongele ndipo before tuanze discussion. Fendo.
Yes, my name is Fendo Godwin. Actually, I like to say that my binomial nomenclature is Fendo Shikalama Godwin, a political commentator, an activist in one way or the other, and a lover of the law and a patriot Kenyan citizen.
Right.
Yeah.
Patriotism. Is that worth something these days?
We still love Kenya, and my left hand will continue to bear the flag of Kenya.
I see all of us do.
Yeah.
Very nice. Welcome to the show. I will not like to quote Nyashinsky, who says that mkono inapeana bribe ndio imevaa bracelet ya Kenya. So that's a whole other conversation too, on the proliferation of these wristbands all over the world. But welcome to the show, Fendo.
Thank you very much, Kenya.
Kimani Wachira.
Thank you very much. I'm Kimani Wachira, President Emeritus TV Student Association. I'm the current incumbent chair, Kiambu Youth Council, and we are here to discuss the state of the nation and a newspaper review, check what needs to be done, what is going right and what is going wrong in our government, because it is our civic duty as the citizens of this republic to keep the government in check, to advise, and also to disagree on issues that we think that are pertinent to what made us vote this government in.
Right. It's the month of love. Are we going to do it with a pinch of love or love-hate?
I think
My tough love.
being February, we are going to go red all on the issues. We are going to raise red flags where need be, but we're also going to show up to the government because, as we said, we are patriotic Kenyans.
Yeah.
And anybody who wishes for a government to fail wishes to be part of a failed system.
Yeah.
So it is our civic responsibility to ensure that we advise accordingly, we raise our issues accordingly, and also congratulate when these are going right.
Yeah.
Not always Kenyans do that, but we need to inculcate that culture of patriotism in our people.
Yeah. If Kenya was a lover and the Kenyans were the other side of this love relationship, it's kind of a love-hate, yeah? Sometimes we show up at the polls, sometimes we complain, sometimes we demonstrate, sometimes we rally behind our athletes when Kipchoge is winning or when Kiptum is winning, when our rugby team is performing. And then on the other days, we have tragedies like what we are seeing in Embakasi. We have tragedies like what we have seen in people who are trying to get documents. So let's get to react first on what the headlines have and then see the major stories and see, where we need to improve and where we have actually improved. So with the three on the table before you, Fendo, hebu niambie hapa ungekuwa editor, ni nani hapa ameweza kazi leo? Tick.
Hapa ningeanza na Standard,
okay,
because it raises an issue about the Kenyan citizens, and Kenya is a nation because it has the individuals, and because it's directly touching about the death and lives, it's an issue that I'll give it to the Standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've put prominence to this Embakasi story.
Yeah.
Kimani, na agree ama unasemaje?
I'll also go with the Standard. The pictorial, it shows the remnant of what happened in Embakasi, and it should be the last photo we see of trailers that have had fires from LPG or even petroleum products that are being transported. It reminds us of the scary incidents that happened in Salga, without mentioning just the photo itself. It reminds us that where we have been from, and the caption itself, "Anger as 100 stares death in the face," also shows that something has been done, but not a lot has been done, because from Friday, we thought that as at today we would have solved, though I've seen that the president gave an executive order or executive directive that those people who are responsible to be arrested. I'll settle still with the captions from the Standard, because it depicts the current situation, because regardless of whether there are leakages or not, people who near any other gas depot or gas depot business are worried.
Yes.
And it will be nice, before we even go deeper, to request the relevant authorities to do another round of inspections in all the suppliers of gases, because we need to be ahead of such incidences.
Yes. I think I would also vote for the Standard this morning. There's a lot of anger, and if no one is angry, I think there's a need for anger. And I will edit it out and say maybe anger as millions stare death in the face. If you are speaking public disservice, as the Daily Nation was putting it last week, we are aware that this might not be the only place where this kind of illegal gas refilling plant is at in Kenya. This is not an isolated incident. Residents in Embakasi still are fearing that there might be another explosion because of reports that there's gas leakages still. And this is just in Embakasi. If we are speaking public disservice and corruption in Embakasi, you can imagine how many other towns where gas refilling is happening, and we have these kinds of plants where they're within residential areas, they do not go through the due procedures, and therefore we could scale it to millions of Kenyans who should be angry and should call for that thorough inspection, as Kimani Washira is putting it there. So this incident happened last week. Page 4 of the Standard has the full story, and it also has a picture here of a lady standing at the corridors of Victory Junior School, which closed yesterday due to fears of a possible explosion after the residents claimed they have smelled gas in Embakasi, Nairobi. In this disaster, 30 families are remaining in the social hall where Nairobi County government has been hosting and feeding Embakasi fire victims. In terms of aid, so far, the Kenya Red Cross has come through and committed to cover 2-month rent for affected individuals, amounting to 6,000 per household. And we've seen, of course, a few things from the county government of Nairobi, Governor Sakaja, waiving a few of those medical bills for the families. Some 28 families, among them 9 adults and 19 children, are still sheltering, though, at the social hall. We've seen here the situation they are reporting at KNH remains critical but under control, receiving as much as 67 patients from the incident, with 6 in critical conditions, suffering from severe burns. Other hospitals have discharged 27 patients, while 34 others continue to receive care in various wards. So we are seeing lots of people affected in just a small region. And there's fear of more happening. Do you think the government, Fendo, will be up to task in rooting out this?
Actually, Okenya, I think this headline and this story coverage, it's a wake-up call to many Kenyans, you know, and it's not just about these gas explosions. It's about, NEMA was involved here. It licensed them, it given them an okay to move forward, and there are many buildings that, they are not out to par. In the past, buildings have been killing people, and you find that there were some commotions, legal entities, that were breached, and these things ended up killing people. So it's not just about this gas, but it should be a wake-up call to all the structural, investments. Even the town planning. Yesterday, Raila Amolo Odinga talked about it, that a lot of problem we have in urban centers, it's planning. Even jam on these roads are all about planning and not being compliant to this problem. But I find that the government will be in a very crossroad and a very serious issue to handle this issue, because some of these people are the political, financiers. They finance them. If you go deep into this story, you'll find that he finances some of the members of parliament. And this issue, even if the court decides in a fair manner, in a justice manner, that this issues should be closed down, it's just some phone calls here and there. And therefore, this should be a wake-up call. We've lost lives, and should be a wake-up call for us that we need to be serious about the state of how we are taking things. Let's have appropriate planning, let the law be followed, and let everything done in order.
Okay. Kimani Wachira, last week when we were reading the Daily Nation, I was having that discussion here with your good friend Nick Modime. We saw a term they called a well-oiled machine. So if we need to root out some of these issues, as you say, we need to have good urban planning, as Raila Odinga is calling out for proper planning of cities and towns. We need auditing of the buildings. We need some of this, and aptly there, Godwin is letting us know this isn't an isolated. We shouldn't look at it
as an isolated case.
Of a gas explosion. There could be a water crisis somewhere where the same problem of approvals has been done. Buildings somewhere, roads somewhere, flyovers. We know various spots on major highways where there's no proper crossing for pedestrians. And I'm sure someone has approved that as a road. This being a well-oiled machine with political players involved, where do we go from there?
Before we come to that, I was listening to a tape of the first person who called the police, and I realized that there are some systems that are working. One of the guy who first saw the fire, first saw the leakage, confessed that he called, I think, 999 or the government hotline, and it was picked. And I was like, oh my! I even didn't know that the number existed, and it shows that even if there are challenges, we are headed somewhere. The problem that we have, starting from the smallest village called Kwaregi to our major town, Nairobi, is planning. And this is not a Kenya Kwanza government problem or Uhuru's government. It has been an hereditary problem that has been since independence. The second major problem, which might be then the biggest one, is corruption. And you have called it, for lack of a better word, well-oiled machine. But we produces the best architects in East and Central Africa. And every time we are doing a project, especially major projects, we were having this discussion with Engineer Maina, and he was telling me that the design stage, everything is perfect, because the architect gains nothing in compromising. But the major problems rise, even the approvals are done. The major problem lies in the implementation stage. This is where those footbridges are removed, their redesigns are done, and they are not done by the initial designers. That is looking at the problem whole at the entire whole. if we narrow to specifics, for instance, about the gas industries, Daily Nation in the front page there, it talks about this farm is linked to another fire explosion or leakage in Nanyuki.
To Laikipia.
Or in Laikipia.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the question should be, who failed who?
Okay.
What we should be discussing is what actions should be taken to those who took bribes.
Okay.
The government, the president gave a word that they should, the government officials should be taken to court. And I support that because if today I'm approached and given a bribe, but I know that a certain guy who took the same bribe is battling a case court. And remember, if you are taken to court, normally if you are a public servant, the government caters for the legal implications. But if the government takes you, it becomes a criminal case. It is you to cater for the legal expenses. So I will urge that anytime we have such issues, those who are responsible should go and have their days in court. Those government officers from NEMA, EPRA, and everybody, so that they can come with trace that how did we register this. Also, there should be a room for public to take evidence against those officials. Right. Probably if I know that I tried to register and I was not given, but that was approved, so that we can build a culture where corruption, when somebody approaches you to bribe you, you rush to report. Okay. That would be a very good approach because and it will save
such that there's benefit in reporting corruption cases.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, I like what he's saying and he's making a lot of sense. But Kenyans, we need to have a correct definition of what corruption is.
Okay.
When corruption favors you, you call it connection. When it does not favor you, you call it corruption. Okay. I'm very sure some of us even here, if they could tell you that, give us something, give us, we're giving you 10 million to work it up. If it's legal, we need to configure the corruption units in our school system. Right from class 1, students need to be told that corruption is bad, to send fear, to tell them the impacts of corruption, the bad impact that corruption can have to an economy.
So we need to teach corruption in school.
Yeah, we need to teach it in school.
We were taught about corruptions and very effects when we were there. I think we need to change the whole approach. And the approach is punishing. If today I'm a thief, assuming I'm a thief, today I see a fellow thief who is still with is stoned to death. Tomorrow I'll be careful.
Very true.
If we try to inculcate this culture to grown up, before we start out the kids may be upright, but before they get to become grown-ups, they will have adapted the old system. I'm talking about measures. We don't need to repeat the Uhuru's arrest Fridays. We now need to think about how to win these legal battles in court, because there is a lacuna in law, and we also don't expect our MPs to address those lacunas because sometimes they are also beneficiaries or they also have implications. When they do that, they might also be witch-hunted. But we now need to think within the law, how can we deal with these corrupt individuals? We only need 5 cases. And everybody will be rushing away from corruption.
But what Godwin is saying is that we need to also look at corruption outside of the public realm, that is politics. So we are the same Kenyans who bribe, right? We are the same Kenyans who overspeed and bribe. We're the same Kenyans who overlap. We're the same Kenyans who, bribe to get into schools or to get our kids into schools. But we're still also the same ones who are complaining about the larger scale of corruption. If we have an inherited issue, definitely legal mechanisms are important. But I'm tending to agree with him also that we should have a miniature version of teaching corruption. In that, as a kid from class 1, you're taught the basics of like the low-level corruption that you have access to. So maybe an example in the textbook, John's dad gave the principal 5,000. What is it? Corruption.
What my friend is trying to advise us, you know, is trying to, the politicians are the ones who created this problem. So when you say that we need politicians and parliament to help us fight corruption, we are fighting a losing battle. You cannot, your problem cannot be solved by somebody who created them, by somebody who is a beneficiary of it, you know. So you need to put that aside and now we are going to start from a fresh leaf. Na samaki mkunje, angali mbichi. When you start telling these kids as early as young as they are, you know, there are some things you cannot do because you are told that unajua kitu fulani ni mbaya. For example, hata tulikuwa tunaandika composition pale, mtu fulani alienda Mombasa pale, alikuwa na sponyo this and this, it ended up, you find that when you are trading, you trade carefully, na nasa and you trade carefully because some of those things were planted already on your head. But if you try to tell somebody don't do corrupt, right now if you tell him that give me 1 million and I give you, you know, you become we are giving you a tender, he will be the first one to give that money and say that niko na connection. You not call it corruption. But now when I'm given that tender and I go and, you know, take it and his papers are put aside, in fact thrown, and I'm given it through corruption, 1 million, he'll call it corruption.
Sometimes I feel like we celebrate it even as a republic.
I say corruption is a Kenyan culture, which is a negative culture that needs to be done away with. And it cannot be done away with by empty talks. It cannot be done away with even the legal system. It needs to be an whole audit system. You know, in primary school, I remember, if you'll go with the samosas, the prefect will not write you as a nice maker. We are laughing because that is the corruption starts at the grassroots. So today, if you want to address the issues, and that will have solved 97% of the issues that we face in Kenya.
Do you think we are enablers as citizens of the corruption that we see? Given, I feel like we celebrate sometimes. For example, is, you know, sometimes MCA wa kwenu, someone is a one-time MCA, akiingia, alafu anguke the next round, and then comes back to his normal life, nasema, angalia huyu jamaa, ulikuwa MCA na hukutoka na kitu. Ama angalia huyu jamaa ni MP. Anyway, if we are happier if they succeeded.
In fact, all those people who have been taken to court for corruption, they go to the voters and they win elections with landslide. Just for example, just to mention the case that was at the neck of Kirinyaga Governor Anweguru. Yes. She was being there were allegations leveled against her that, you know, the youth money was stolen. She went and won an election, you know. There is this John Waluke. There was a court case, in fact, he was even in prison. He won an election even inside the prison. So also Kenyans, we love the corrupt, you know. Enda pale iba.
Sasa inatuumiza sisi wenyewe. Do we see that?
Na unajua inatuumiza kwa nini? Ni kwa sababu haijatufavor. Lakini wewe ikakufavor, utaita connection. This is something that we need to seriously sanitize it, you know, with all the detergent
and corruption possible. Is in our DNA. You know, when you are going back home in the evening, you better sit in that kakiti kadogo unapatianga wakambao and pay the normal prices rather than wait for the next matatu. When we are talking about corruption and being 90% of the problem we are facing, we really mean that everything that surrounds you. In the office where you are working, you have that unproductive guy who did engineering but is in a bank. Because he used dubious means to get there. So he's affecting the overall productivity.
Yes.
Even going to what is covered in the reason why our dollar, the currency issues that our dollar is depreciating.
Yes.
You will find that the experts in the economies, they just did a degree in something else. And now they are doing masters in the field that they were employed. When we are talking about corruption, and I'm glad that we are having this conversation as a youth, we need to count the cost and pay the price and decide if we want to pay the price today or tomorrow. Later. And if we decide to pay the price tomorrow, probably we might not even live towards tomorrow because somebody else might buy our death through other means. Maybe that's the default mechanic who does bad work in your car, and because the inspector is going to be corrupt, you have a road accident. So we need to think as a nation.
So who should we be angry at? Anger as hundreds stare death in the face. Is it ourselves or the leaders that we have enabled through our corrupt nature?
Ourselves.
Okay.
Because even those leaders, we elected them. And we had to be motivated to go to those ballot boxes, to go and vote. From the MCA, you will hear somebody say, and we have to be truthful to ourselves. Kama hanipati za macho,
haoni kura yangu.
Haoni kura yangu.
You know, Okenye, on what he's saying, a member of parliament will have to go to his constituents on a weekend. He will be invited to over 30 funerals. You know, he has to go there and give people money. When you alight from a vehicle just to go and urinate, people will come for you, give us money. Where do you expect this person to get money from? You know, Atwoli once asked us those questions, and we really castigated him. And Kenyans are emotional thinkers. They don't like to think. You know,
Logic.
With logic. They are emotional thinkers. You ask them, you want this person to build school, you want this person to educate your child. He does not, his salary cannot even cut up for the entire constituency. If right now Wamatangi, the governor of Kiambu County, comes here, will natanikanja dongapi. So we view them as people who should give us money.
Individually.
And we are then telling them that go and steal and give us. We don't, the end justifies the mean. Whether you have stolen it or not stolen it, borrow menipatia, I will go there. So it is something that is also that Kenyans, we are our own problems. Let's also respect them in matters of dignity, in matters of ethics. This corruption will just reduce by them. If today we say that we are going to elect members of parliament because of what they can perform, you know, this money, you have money, yes, we can take money, but we're not going to vote for you because of money, but we are going now to vote for uncorrupt leaders. This morning I was reading the Standard, and I was even crying when I saw that my deputy governor, who people are saying is going to be a governor, is being castigated for, you know, corruption case, 120 million. That is Ayub Savula. Is already on courts with 120 million, and the sugar industries there are ailing. You know, the children are not going to school. You've seen children being aired on TV. KUTV has aired some of the problems that the children are facing, and somebody has stolen that money with his wives. That person, I can assure you, is going to win an election with landslide.
For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe. And the other thing, I think we've gotten to a point where it's such a norm hadi tunasema siku hizi ati aibe basi lakini afanye kitu.
Aibe ajisaidie.
Aibe lakini afanye kitu. Yani atuweke hata hospitali moja nini lakini aibe. We've condoned it so much that we want to allow it as long as there's something presentable in the face of this corruption.
And you know, they are very stupid even when they are stealing. You know, you create an advertisement company, you know, we advertise this, that is 100 million, you know, those things. They are even not clever in stealing because nobody will question them, you know.
Yeah.
My friend called Shen Jane is telling me that she's watching, that corruption is a Kenyan side hustle. Every Kenya has a side hustle for corruption.
Wow.
She's very wise.
Wow. National side hustle. I will not disagree.
Because we are here castigating corruptions. But if we are honest with ourselves, we have either participated or become beneficiaries of corruption.
Personally, I have never participated.
I'll say this.
You've always benefited. Everyone unataka kusema.
Benefited.
You came in a matatu that was overloaded.
No, I
Karawa
take matatus
was given
that are
his-
very ethical in nature. I refuse.
And that
Whenever I
is
see
the
that-
greatest problem
and we can
with
begin.
Kenya.
We don't need it, we can begin it from here. The moment you see corrupt, tell them no. I'm not corrupt. I'm ethical. We are going to operate in this manner.
Yes.
You know?
We cannot be able to fully solve the corruption issues if we don't agree first to say that we are beneficiaries, we are corrupt. As Kimani Washira will say, I'm corrupt.
Either you're participating or you're benefiting.
You are benefiting.
Okay.
If I'll be going back to Kiambu through the Ruiru way, and I'm sure we are going to give 450s to the 4 traffic officers that we'll find stationed just from Ruiru to Kiambu. Simple maths.
For sure.
The matatu carries we are paying a fare of 50 bob. There are 4 police officers. The matatu should carry 14 people. It's going to carry 18 people.
So that the 4 cater for the police officers.
Police officers. So I'm an emperor. And sometimes we want to castigate the government. Either the Kenya Kwanza government or the Uhuru's government, Moi's government, but we are the greatest enabler. So for us to solve, and because I'm sure that having addressed that, we have addressed the problem of IDs, because that comes with tendering, procurement.
You've covered actually.
We have covered everything in this gazette.
Yeah, for sure.
And the problems that we are facing in Kenya is corruption.
Okay. On that, in terms of what you were saying earlier, which is prosecution, there's a story here on page 5 of the Standard, where EACC is probing the country's 11 trillion debt. I don't know why they're surprised when even me and you here, Kimani Washira, we spoke about the new adjustments to how we are borrowing back before the Finance Act or the Finance Bill of 2023. So there's a new way in which we are calculating debt. All right. So they broke off the ceiling, and now we are doing a percentage, right? Now they are also saying, now here a probe from EACC, that some of this money cannot be accounted for. Who took this debt and where was it taken to? There is an issue of prosecution. Before we get into the debt, who is failing us in terms of prosecution? EACC is asking for a look into prosecutorial powers. Yeah, so they are allowed to look for corrupt individuals. Currently, they aren't.
They are
right.
So by the constitution, they are not.
They are not, right? And they're hoping that something can be done so that they also have that power. But we do have an ODPP.
But
right?
even if they are given the power, as we said, we have to be honest with ourselves. If corruption is a good system that is there, that though it's not favoring us, it is an established system. We give EACC the power to prosecute. These people will go and bribe the judge.
Where are the cases presented before the court so far from the ODPP. And from EACC?
Yes.
That's what I'm asking.
The idea is simple. And we need to think as a nation, if we want to deal with this problem, either prosecutions, cases are thrown by politicians. After a successive regime, there is a change of regime, some cases are adopted, others are introduced.
Very true.
Evidence disappear. Does it disappear in the hands of EACC, in the hands of ORPP, or even in the courts? We need to do, before we do the audits of our economical situation, we need to do an audit of the corruption system.
That is
so that when we are doing the actual audit of the trillions we have borrowed, we'll be sure of if these results are corrupt free or they are corrupt driven. Because even in the audits, if I benefited, I can be able to influence the report that is going to be tabled in parliament or even in the public domain. I can, through corruption means, I can look for bloggers to change the narrative that online when the report is going to be brought, so that people cannot have an eye.
Godwin,
yes.
Ken Abuya is saying here that you guys are, anasema tuna fume, and anasema that you guys can breathe. If we didn't have this government, it wouldn't even be any better. So they're saying if we had the alternative from the polls last time, which was the Azimio government, it wouldn't even be, it wouldn't be any better because
I like
the system.
I would like to thank him for saying the truth, because I'm also not here to defend Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. That is not my business to be here. But I think Azimio is, in fact, in these corruption cases, Azimio is really failing Kenyans than even the government itself. Why am I saying this?
Very true.
Yeah.
How so?
Because Azimio has, if there is any investment that Azimio has, it is the tyranny of lawyers and serious advocates.
For sure.
The kina James Orengo, the kina nani.
Let us say the creme de la creme
the creme de la creme of the legal system.
Actually, is in Azimio.
But they take their cases to funerals. They have never stepped in any court of law to incriminate and present evidence to hold these people responsible. So Azimio is also failing the people. And when I watch news watching Raila Odinga talking in funerals, I feel like you are just talking like a local man like Fendo Godwin. Take these issues to parliament, through your members of parliament to present issues, take these issues to courts. But you cannot just using, we are tired of press statements and press releases. Hizo andika kitabu tutasoma.
Andika memo
tutanunua hizo vitu, take them to court. And I really also like to appreciate William Ruto, though I don't support his ideologies and his ways of operations, but when he was outside the government, he managed to single-handedly pin down BBI. He could have his hand influence there. But this doesn't mean, we will work, I don't know what, we want elections, fight these things that are
they also have their own vested interests in
maybe
the fruits from the government.
So what the callers just said is very, very true. And I think something needs to be done, whether we decide to solve this issue by prayers or I don't know. because how are you going now to solve it?
I have been in government, I have been in opposition, and I'll tell you this for a fact. There is nothing as easy as opposing anything. So when he says that the opposition is failing, he really means it. Because all you need to is a whistleblower, get your facts right, table them in public, table them in parliament, go for legal actions. But when the opposition becomes the official noise maker,
very true,
then you are not helpful, both to the government system and also to the people who voted you as the opposition. Because you are there because people voted you as the official opposition leader. If we wanted to have Wajakoya as the official opposition leader, they would have voted him in also as the second candidate. So what we are saying is, and this needs to go directly to the ODM team, because Azimio right now is neither here nor there. Jubilee is saying their own thing.
First time I've heard you say that on this show.
We changed it. I will say this year we are going to be truthful,
Brutally
to
honest.
ourselves.
Yeah, brutally honest.
We are as I said in it's the month of Rao. We are going to raise the red flags.
Yeah, where we see them. Yeah.
And they are it's unfortunate that even the government is doing better work in communication compared to Azimio. The OGS, Office of the Government Spokesperson, they are doing well. We saw them go to the site where there was fire, Embakasi. The following day, they are not talking from offices. Have we seen people in opposition either support the people who are the victims of the fire, visited the site, or even issued a statement regarding this? And remember, we must be truthful to ourselves that Raila is the greatest investor in this field. We remember, and people ask, there is no evidence. I'll go back during Maandamano. There is a company that was attacked
and it
by
was,
goons.
Yeah.
And Raila was there to defend it because he said it is associated with him.
Yeah.
That is the evidence that this is not heresy.
Yeah. Okay.
These
I
are
like
not
it.
mere allegations.
Today I feel like an intellectual mogul. Or something. I feel good when I see a fellow youth, debating things not from a biased manner, but we are debating and cutting across all these politics because they are file wawili wanapopigana si ndio. And this also brings me back to the Ruto's agenda. And when we are beginning this talk show, he said one thing that we need to help the government to achieve its mandate. If you will be mentally ill if you are trying to say or wish the government to fail. And this brings me back to the Ruto's agenda about that we need to create an office for the Prime Minister. Because this Raila Amolo Odinga and the opposition people, I think they are really wasting time on funerals and those things. They need to channel their office. Yeah, they need to be in an office so that they can sit down and discuss for the benefits of Kenyans. Because we can no longer afford to waste a lot of time and afford PR stunts from politicians. When a crisis happens, it now gives an opportunity for somebody to eat PR with it and gain political mileages. They're now using it as political mileages and showing us how educated and how what should have been done, how what should not be done, castigating this one, throwing hands here and there. We need not to have those type of nonsense.
Yes. Yeah. It's high time that kind of tete-a-tete died down. All right, so read for yourself, man. That has heated us up. What is happening in Embakasi? It's a very sad situation, though. So condolences to the families that have been affected, and we're hoping that these survivors can get help as soon as possible. And this gas leaks, EPRA, man. EPRA, kazi ni kupandisha tu mafuta. Ebu angalia hizi vitu.
But you see, they were in court.
Come on.
Sometimes, and I'm saying we have to give credit where it's due. EPA had taken these people to court some
they shut down the affiliate farm in Nanyuki, mmesema,
Yes. So, and also last 2020, a certain guy from that farm was also in court. There were some court orders. In fact, I saw them being distributed online because you can now download from the portal of the judiciary thing if this person has a case.
And there is nothing.
These people what did the court say? They had in fact impounded some of the LPG that was quack, that was bad, that was not good for consumption. Maybe for it's flammable.
Okay.
And Kenya, there is nothing new under this. You remember the Solai Dam issue? A lot of lives lost, a lot of property lost. Where was the one go? In fact, this case we can even hear with the knowledge that he has, with the knowledge that we can even predict how this case is going to end. Of course, if we bank on our history, we can know how this case is going to end.
There's a trend.
And very soon we'll see some of these people who are being criminally going for political seats. At Kenyans,
the owner of this gas plant could vie for county governor Nairobi and win easy.
So there is nothing.
But I hope that the Ruto declaration in Western,
which is what?
About the not arresting the owner first. Let us first deal with the people in the system
who are enabling this.
Yes.
That might be the game changer. And kudos Bwana Ruto. I'm sure that if the people who are the juniors implement this, very will be making a step forward. But the problem is if they don't.
That's the first.
I just hope
that's the first kudos to William Ruto I've ever had on this show.
No, it's not yet time to give him kudos. I just hope that when this scandal happened in Wasingishu count, about the Finland, about the scholarship.
Scholarship.
People incriminated Mandago, you know, we need to be in it. The president should act. Where is he? How is he just relaxing and eating
Still
the
bottom
man?
buddies.
So we
That's
hope that
because-
is now going to take action and not just some words. Even our ears are tired of just listening to words to ta na
Watu wafanye kazi.
Since the death of Ouko tutachunguza, tunasema wale watu ambao walifanya watu wafanye kazi,
Watu
tuone
wafanye
wanaingia
kazi.
prison.
Yeah.
Committee has a very
I think there should also be like a 2-week silence from both the opposition and the government. Watu wafanye kazi kwanza,
Yeah.
press statements tufanye baadaye tena.
Yeah.
The only office that should be working is the office of the government spokesperson. Why? Waambie watu wanyamaze.
Yeah, for sure. So also, I just wanted to take this chance to give people caution when they're using their gas kwa nyumba. Yeah, gas cylinders. Ukitumia pale, make sure you're checking if it's safe. Ukisikia gas emission, report it, toa nje, get it in fresh air. Unaweza tumia soapy water to actually pour it on top of that cylinder. If it's if it shows bubbles, it means it's leaking. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be soapy water actually, even water. So, and then if it's leaking, throw a blanket or a cloth on top of the fire instead of pouring water or any other liquid that you have. Stay safe when you're cooking out there. So that's what is happening, and you can read more about it on page, which page was that? Page 10 of the Daily Nation and page 4 of the Standard. Gentlemen, hiyo story imefanya tumecover hadi history ya IDs. Juu pia mimi sijapata ID yangu from last year December. I renewed my passport from May 2023. It's almost getting to a year. I've not gotten anything.
Have you called that number that was given by Kindiki?
Now your house is a crime scene, bro. No one's
It's no
gonna
problem, but I have asked. We need. If we have to persecute the government, we need to do it from a point of information.
No one's speaking.
No one is speaking.
No one's speaking. We can call it right now. On
So
air if we
will
had time.
try that.
If we had time.
So that we can now go and castigate them. We are going to try this because I'm saying that when the government says anything, as a responsible citizen, try it, and if it does not fail, hold them accountable.
And it is a very sad state of affair when a journalist of the caliber for Kenya is also complaining that he doesn't have an ID.
Man, come on.
And we have over 500,000 students who are expected to go to the first year. These people will expect to have ID cards, to apply for help, to register mobile numbers. And you know, in Nairobi right now, people are very careful. You know, nobody wants to give you. Wewe you are a man, umeregister na jina ya mama yako.
Yeah, kuna withdraw pesa anakuambia haiwezi.
Anakuambia haiwezi. So we are just creating a serious issue that, you know, handling it will be quite difficult. So we need to take this thing seriously. And you know, the issues are giving why this delays. The government printers have failed. You know, all things that mimi hata ninakuaga na printer kwa nyumba, ni ile nikifinance.
Unaweza nyayo house yako.
But
Nyayo
at the
house
same
asili.
time, we must also be cognizant of Kenyans who take IDs. They go to take new IDs, especially replacement, but they never pick them.
Okay.
If you follow the CS, I think was it Moses Kuria, he published the list of uncorrected IDs, and I was, oh my, in his socials. And even it's covered in page 7 of the Daily Nation. Uncorrected IDs, there is a photo there, and there are a lot of, we go apply for driving licenses, we never go to pick them. We go apply for IDs, we never go to pick them. Okay, this does not justify the reason why.
Yeah, I was going to ask, man.
But we also need to, those who have already picked might be part of the people who are complaining. I'm sure you are not.
Yeah, I'm not.
But
I don't have my ID.
because you, I'm sure because of you visit these big houses, you need to access the ID.
Have you talked about the bureaucracies that are involved in the DO's office and Rudi tunataka sijui birth certificate what?
Hiyo public service.
Yeah.
Umekuja na photocopy ya birth Rudi. It doesn't matter.
You know.
Enda ulete tena. Unaleta unaambiwa kuna nyingine.
And you know that these ID issues were brought in Kenya in 1915 and people were working with them as kipande system on their neck.
And now they're suggesting an expiry date to them.
I
have never gone to the United Kingdoms, but I hear that huko watu watumiangi ID. Is it true? How true is that?
Kimani, you've been to London.
I'll say this one before then we come to the issues of what other nations are doing. One, I support the idea of the ID being digital. We don't need to carry huduma numbers or whatever. And so if it's digital, it needs to expire so that your photo can be updated.
Just like a driving license.
Just like a driving license.
Okay.
But there is a lot of, we live in an age of misinformation, deception, and propaganda. Now I have heard that we are saying that when the IDs expire, your citizenship has expired. That is a joke. But I think the government needs to come up with a better way of updating these systems without changing the physical ID. Or if it's not possible, then we make sure that that face-off is not done at the same time. It's done slowly.
Okay.
Going back to the issues of Rwandan, I want to send my quick recoveries to the King Charles.
King Charles.
He has prostate cancer.
Yeah,
When I'll be visiting him, I'll come with a good feedback about, as a foreigner, you have to walk with your passport.
Passport,
Okay.
very true. Yeah.
But those guys are very free. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to pick one story, and then because we only have less than 10 minutes actually. We have less than 10 minutes, so I'll allow gentlemen to also pick a story each that we would not like to gloss over. Wacha nianze na yangu as you guys pick yours. So still at the front of the Daily Nation, there's a story there on affordable housing project, which has hit a snag at the court, and President William Ruto is not so happy about it. There are concerns about the affordable housing project. I'm just going to read through them. Alafu mniambie, just a question I have is, why is President William Ruto so insistent on affordable housing? Amesumbuana nayo, wameita CJ kwa wame State House, wameiongelele, imeenda koti, insist. His whole government is pushing it. So here are 7 concerns before I get to hear what you gentlemen have to say. Opaqueness on funds handling at the end of each financial year. This opaqueness is actually what I was going to respond when you were talking about, supporting the expiry of IDs and going digital. These days, anything with a government fingerprint, mali government imesema ndipo, unaanza kushuku kidogo, yeah? When the government is insisting on a project, most of the times and as he was saying, if you look at records and history, it will serve right now. There's a trend, there's a pattern. We're talking about the edible oil scandal. We're talking about the G2G deal, which I refer to as, let me not say it on national TV, I might not know the implication, but G means something else. The G from OG. So
the G's is the bag.
So G, between a G and another G, they made a deal, and you see how that went. So we have that opaqueness in how the funds are handled. Loophole for people who never contributed to acquire houses. Inadequate cash collection for category of houses. Channeling monies to counties without spending guidelines. Implication of the levies nullification in the ongoing housing projects. Gaps and overlaps in the classification of what exactly is an affordable housing unit. Unclear definition of institutional housing programs and projects. I think I agree with most or if not all of these concerns of the affordable housing. So guys, your sentiments on affordable housing. I just have to say again, I am always surprised on an individual level, this is my personal opinion, on why the president is so angry about the levy when he can do affordable housing without collecting money. The president has the powers to build everyone a house if he wants. He does not need our money, but the insisting on him getting the housing levy and him correlating it to the blocking of affordable housing is what I don't get. So gentlemen, your few pointers before you bring
Mr.
your
Richard,
stories.
4 years from today or 5, you'll be a parent.
Okay.
And when the kids will be of age, and you ask them, vote if you want to go to school. We all know they will vote no. But you know that education is important for those kids. That's why you'll be insistent of them to go to school.
Without their vote.
Africa, regardless of how they vote, Africa has an Agenda 63 that talks about housing. As a nation, these are not the first government houses to be built, regardless of the issues that have been raised. During Mwai Kibaki's time, we did Kibra housing when Raila was the prime minister. During Uhuru's tenure, most of the houses that we are launching today were done during that time, and we're also constructing. The economy of Kiambu, and I dare say this, is controlled by the real estate business, where youths are employed in MJE, mama mbogas are employed to make ranches for those MJEs, and also even at the Badaskis. So the issues of housing is a major issue in terms of addressing various issues affecting our nation.
Okay.
But now the problem came in that when it was being implemented, as the court directed, there was no public participation and the taxes issues, and that is going to be it's being readdressed through the bill.
Okay.
But of course, as a Kenyan, we are not happy when now something is being taken from our pockets.
Okay.
In the economic situations we are in. That is why there is a lot of pulling up and pushing up. But the idea of house, nobody's is even you said in your own words that the president can build as many houses as
they
he
want
wants,
affordable
because
housing, man.
everybody wants a house.
I mean, support
but
of it.
Everybody supports the idea. The problem comes with the financing of that houses, and that's where the example of the education is coming. So my advice to the president will be, let due process be followed. And due process means that that bill is taken to Parliament, Senate, and give another 4 months for court, because if after it's being passed, it's going to happen that.
For sure.
But
There's
before that, we can think about how we can do this as proto projects without the taxes.
Fendo, you're weighing in on this, and where are these affordable houses when we have people in Embakasi who need houses?
So first of all, I like to correct what my friend has said, and I'm correcting it from the point of order that asking a kid if you want to go, of course they'll vote no. But if Ruto is saying, or rather the president, Dr. Ruto says that Kenyans need houses, we are going to put, that's an idea that is just forced down people's throat. If truly this thing is about people-centered, if you want to help the people, what do you do first? You ask them, what do you need to be done for you? Okay. Nobody told him we need houses, Many people need industries. If industries are there, they'll get salaries, they'll go buy land and build their own homes and houses. But if you're giving this person a house, that Nyumba affordable housing is there, again, these houses is not for the hustlers. Go and read this daily and you'll know. Because they're saying the people allocation is allocation. For the people who earn a salary of 149,000 and above, they have been allocated 60% of those houses.
But there are two projects.
Wait, I complete my point. So they have been allocated 60% of those houses. Those earning between 20,000 to 149,000, they have now been allocated around 30%, And that salary of 20,000 to 149,000, you know how many people are going there. Now there are those people, those people who don't have employment. And even that, pale, utakuja na 20,000, somebody has come with 50,000. So it will supersede, it will overtake what the government is expecting to help the hustlers and the mamambogas. So this is, just allow me to finish my point, because if I don't deliver it correctly, I will be misunderstood.
For sure.
So this, it will overrun the government intentions to help the poor, the mamamboga. Because how many mamamboga can make 20,000 per month? This is a loan. They're going to pay it as rent. The people are going to pay 18,000, 20,000 shillings and 30,000 shillings. And even these people are saying that we have created employment. That's not employment. Hiyo ni kibarua. Umepatiwa pale
to differentiate kibarua na employment.
To differentiate kibarua na employment. Because huyo kijana akishatoka hapo hivyo building kisha goroa imeshapakwa rangi, wewe kazi yako imeisha. And you will not even afford to live in that house. No, let alone afford living in that house. Hata wakupate hapo unazunguka, wewe unachapwa kiboko. Wewe ni hustler, unakuja hapa kufanya nini? So this thing is going to overtake. It will have been, made a lot of sense if they are going to give it to the real hustlers on the ground. But they are going to use pay slips.
People are failing to understand is, in the interest of time, there are two projects. There is Boma Yangu, where you rent to own, and that is what is meant for Mama Mboga. As I said, this year we are calling it the way it is.
Okay.
And then there is the other one for everybody. And nobody is thinking about the rent to own. And that was what was meant for or envisioned for the hustlers. You'll be paying rent.
How affordable is that rent to own?
It is around 8,000 to 12,000.
Okay.
But nobody is talking about it, because if we talk about it, we'll be giving the government of the day, it will be seen that the government of the day is delivering. That's why we are so much focusing on the 40,000 for the mababuenyenyes who live in suburb areas such as where my brother comes from.
Okay. My friend, I just need to reply to him because he's misleading the audience. He's saying that there is affordable 8,000 rent because you don't. It seems like you are losing the touch with the mamambogas. How many can just comfortably afford? Wait.
Rent to own.
Wait. 8,000. What criteria is the government going to use? They are going to give us, wait first. We are not in a barada or in a bar somewhere. Just wait me to complete my point. Which is the indication that they're going to use to give these houses to people? They are going to use your, bank statements. Let's just be factual. Nobody is going to give you a house and they know you'll be incapable of paying, and there's somebody there earning 50,000 running that house and they can give it. So we need to also be pragmatic. We should not just, even if Ruto alisema enzi za kudanganywa pia zimeisha. Indicate hata wewe if they elect you as a manager today to seek those people, you'll look what is your bank.
What do you have?
You will make perceived. Are those judgments coming from money? Okay. In fact, the poorer you are, your papers zitawekwa huko kando.
So guys, because time is flying by, 9:52 in the morning, hata hiyo story na nilikuwa kila mtu apeane moja, utasoma tu headline na statement moja. I don't think we'll discuss so much. I just wanted to see the figures of people who are earning over 100,000 in Kenya are 310,000. Yani less than a million people in this republic ndo wana earn over 100,000 bob. So our watu wote wengine wako under 100k.
Very true, but that is from the
Under
government.
100K.
Those people who are employed.
And
by the
now
government.
the
That
ones those
No,
ones
this
with
is
under
Kenyans.
100,
This is
the
Kenyans.
But
majority.
we know
Wait.
how media does it when we are trying to quote figures, because that is eye-catching. If we go back to the ground and think about how many people are employed in the business of community, earning business, as a business person.
A business person isn't earning a salary though.
Statistically, there are only
that's what I'm trying to
75,000
say.
Kenyans.
Business
Statistically,
is different.
So if you
let me answer you.
the way he's looking
Statistically,
at it,
the number of Kenyans with a bank account of 100,000 and above
Yes.
in Kenya, in a population of 52 million Kenyans,
Yes.
stands at 75,000 Kenyans only. You know, that are the Kenyans who have 100,000 in the
And
account
above
and
in their
above.
account.
Sleeping.
Yes.
75,000
Only.
Kenyans only. Now remember,
Bro,
what
we
he's
have
saying
millions
is
of
true.
we are coming there. As a Kikuyu, you
what-
don't expect me to keep 100,000 sleeping in the bank. Why don't we look at how many people are operating, probably in a month, 100,000 in and out? That will be better statistics, because when what we are talking about is about how many people have that 100,000 sleeping, waiting for.
But isn't that what the housing project is going to do? You look at what you have in your account, above
No.
100,000,
For the
above
boma yangu,
149.
for the boma yangu, you'll be paying rent as you live in the same house, and then after a certain years, you're going to be the legal owner of that house.
Hustler
And these
fund.
suggestions are very good, but we need to take them in the public participation, so that the bill that is going to be drafted.
We can just do it in relation to the hustler fund. They say the hustler fund is going to be for the hustlers. People are given loan according to what they have. According to, in IT,
course.
I've done IT in
Right.
JKUAT diploma in IT with algorithms of
We can figure out.
Yeah, they can figure out. Mimi yangu ilikuja 300. Kuna mwingine ilikuja 2K.
500 mimi.
So in a nutshell, they are going to focus on what you. They are going to judge you with money.
My brother,
And
Also Kimani, I just want to say
not that huwezi lipa kama yeye amesema ni kusema.
wewe unapinga, but sisi tunasema stats show.
You
The
don't argue
stats
with
from Kenya
statistics.
National
You don't
Bureau
argue
of
with the
Statistics are showing not so
You
many
cannot
Kenyans
argue with
have
the
100K.
numbers.
Although Kimani Wachira has more than 100K in his account and
No, not more than
operating.
I don't. In my bank account hakuna pesa inalala.
Sawa, gentlemen, hata hiyo story ilikuwa tuseme walaya tutaweza kuweza. It's 9:55 in the morning. So I just have under 1 minute to wrap this up. Maybe if you say the headline and say one comment, say the headline, one comment, nimalize, tusome quote.
So mine is on Daily Nation. That is page 3. The hunter becomes the hunted as more police officers face charges. Police officers are facing a lot of charges on murder cases, some crimes and about that. It's high time that the government of Kenya creates, mental places where these police officers can go and be equipped. It's high time that the government prioritize the needs of these police officers, because most of them are facing psychological issues. If you read this Daily Nation's today's Daily Nation, the number of police officers incriminated on murder issues and crimes is so high. There is a need so that these police officers are taken care of. These are the people who are protecting our lives. When somebody dies in a dam, when people are killed anywhere, who will be called to pick? A lawyer will not be taken to pick. A doctor will not be taken to pick. It's these police officers who are going there. They are facing a lot of issues. It's high time the police reforms are done and made to help them also live a better life. Because I feel sad when I see a lot of police officers being taken to court on issues of criminal activities, murder and all things. And more often than not, these people are suffering. That is also another topic that I will ask me to address it.
Thank you so much.
I'll go for an advert in the page, in the Standard, page 5, talking about from the county government of Kiambu, public notice waiver on land rates. This is to notify the general public of, it's talking about, there is a bill that was passed in 2016 by the Kiambu County Assembly that introduced payment of all free land should be paid for some taxes. And that is saying that we are going to tax what took us to the forest to fight for independence.
Okay.
So, Bwana Kimani wa Matangi, shape up or we ship you out.
Okay, I wish we had time to speak about Kimani Watangi because he's also my governor, but another time, yeah? Time has run out. I'll just close it here. and I will do the quote today instead. So at the back of the Business Daily, we have Andre Paul Gulame. That's French, so forgive my French. Complete possession is proved only by giving. All you are unable to give possesses you. Complete possession is proved only by giving. All you are unable to give possesses you. Think about it, and thank you very much for tuning in to this edition of Biashara Tuesday on KUTV Rise Today. Remember, we are all on socials at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_Okenya. Thank you for being on KUTV Rise Today from Monday, Art and Culture, and today Biashara Tuesday. We'll be back next week, Monday, Tuesday, same thing, same place, same time. My name is Richard Okenya. For this week, I hope that your jokes are high and your profits are higher so that you can always laugh all the way to the bank. I'll see you around.